so if you guys can start making your way up here and fill out these seats. The front row seats were all going to get a special prize tonight. So, yeah, hey, if you sit in the front row, you're going to get a t-shirt. Thanks for that. So come on up, grab a drink. Want to have your beverage ready for the presentation? Because we're going to have several toasts.
Do I need to be here?
All right. Well, let's get everybody up here. Come on. We're going to have presentations. We need a crowd. I guess people are getting their drinks. We'll let them get their drinks. In the meantime, I'm Pete Erickson, the founder of Modev. And first thing I want to do is let's give a huge round of applause to CustomInk for hosting this event tonight. Totally awesome space. Great company. Really, really just excited to get to know this company. Thanks to, where's Chris Gibson? Chris? Chris, you here? Where I give you a shout out. You in the room?
On a tour.
All right. He's on a tour. Always working. But anyway, Chris pinged me a couple months ago and to come here and talk about integration into the community and whatnot. And I've just been totally amazed at the brand that they've built of CustomInk. Beyond what they do, because it's really amazing, being the really one of the most leading on-demand e-commerce platforms in the country, but they've created a culture that's so clear, so exciting, it's so vibrant, so transparent. You walk around and you see on the big screens, you can see exactly what's happening at any given time, recognizing people that are rock stars. And putting a headquarters in a space like Mosaic, where it's so important to have that kind of work-life social balance these days. Obviously, they get it, so I'm thrilled to be involved, thrilled to be a partner with CustomInk. We're going to have a couple of great programs, great speakers tonight. We're psyched for this. And I think first we're going to bring up Darren Mauro, who's VP of e-commerce, I believe, or where are we at?
Online experience.
VP of Online Experience, thank you. Sorry, I'm not looking at my notes right now.
No worries.
There's a lot of stuff in here. Obviously, a lot of it falls through the cracks. I haven't been drinking, though. I did have tea. I did have tea. And then Alison Heittman with Solertium has built a couple of amazing apps, so one of them being the FiveGuys app. So, and then at the end of the program, so we're going to have two programs, two speakers. What we'd like to do is we will take questions. Jan here has a mic. So at the end of Darren's presentation, definitely we have the ability to take questions, and at the end of Alison's presentation, we take questions as well. And then we're going to give away an all-access pass to Modev UX, which is currently valued at about $1,200. So someone's going to win something special. And of course, if you haven't got your EET yet, please do that before you leave. They're right here. And the last person I want to recognize before we get started is Miss Christina Molson, who was the planner and event extraordinaire. Bring her together right there. A lot of details go into these events, and she was on top of it every step of the way, and just an amazing job. This is a lot of fun. So without further ado, let's get started. I want to bring up Darren. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Do the ceremonial switching of the PowerPoints.
There we go. All right.
Okay. Clicker, microphone. Cool. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome. Good evening. How are you doing?
Great.
Great. Well, thanks a lot, Pete. So I'm really happy to welcome everybody to our new space in Mosaic. Hopefully you've gotten a chance to take one of the tours. They're going to be going on later after the talks as well. Just check out the space and kind of see what CustomInk is all about. It's an interesting business. If you get to know more about us, I'll talk about that a little bit. We're happy to be here in Mosaic, and part of what's especially interesting to us is Mosaic is really, what we like about it is it's a community. And I think we brought a community of people together here tonight. So, here in Mosaic, there's a community feel. We walk around, a lot of the businesses kind of know each other and interact with each other. And in the summertime, a lot of great events in the space. We're really happy to bring together a community of people with a shared interest, as we do tonight. And we'd like to do a lot more of this in the future now that we're here in a new space. So thanks again for coming. So very quickly, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about CustomInk. So, as you probably figured out, we're all about t-shirts. Lots of t-shirts here on the table. T-shirts pretty much everywhere you look. But part of what's really unique about us is we really focus on t-shirts for groups and occasions. So, if you think about all the different occasions that are important to people, we think that CustomInk t-shirts really have the power to unite groups and occasions. So, you see my inker friends here, all in their resplendent in their red and orange t-shirts. This looks like a group of people that are together. They're doing something together. They're part of the same thing. They're part of the same cause. And you can imagine, a sports team, a school group, a family reunion, where when you put on the t-shirt, really something special happens. It's a special moment. And you're going to save that t-shirt for years and years if that was something that's important to you. So it's more than just a piece of clothing. I mean, it's something that's really special and important. And so part of what we really value is the ability to be part of that important experience in somebody's life and really enable our customers to do that. So the other thing that's kind of unique about us is we really focus on doing this through designing online. We try to make it really fun and easy to be able to design, create something that's going to be special to you, that's going to be unique to your group, to enable a non-designer to do that. Not everybody is a trained designer, but everybody has the ability to kind of create something special, and we give you artwork and lots of other tools to make that possible. Try to make that fun and easy in the process. So just a little bit about CustomInk kind of as a business. So since 2000 when we were founded, we've printed over 50 million t-shirts. That's a lot of t-shirts. I don't know how much of this room or beyond that fills up, but that's a lot of t-shirts. Last year we had over 170 million in revenue. That was actually over 50% growth for us. So it's a lot of orders to print, but pretty exciting. Revenue applause. What we're even prouder of is 99% of those customers said they'd order again. So that tells us we're serving the customer right. That's really, really important to us. The Inker team, we're now in 4 cities. So just as of this month, we opened our facility in Dallas. We're also in Reno, Nevada, Charlottesville, and here in Fairfax, where you are today. In all of our other locations, we actually print t-shirts. Here, we do everything but the printing. But as you walk around, you'll see a lot of other functions that are important parts of the order process. People taking sales calls, people working on artwork preparation, people doing logistics. And then in our production facility, you see people actually printing t-shirts. We're also happy to be recognized as a great place to work in both the Washingtonian's local survey as well as a couple of national surveys, including the Great Places to Work Institute. We also, part of what's interesting about our business is that we have a complex logistics network that involves over 100 partners outside the company, mostly printers, embroiderers, and other kind of what we call decorators, who are part of actually fulfilling our orders. So we do a significant number of orders in-house, but we also have this large complex network. And part of what that lets us do is be able to really get an order from a blank shirt sitting in a warehouse to a printer to a customer in the fastest time possible, and a lot of technology about the routing and about how to prioritize and move through the process, because it's a very people-intensive process. And then on our website, we get about 2.5 million unique visitors in a typical month, kind of during our busier seasons. So hopefully that gives you a sense of, it's a lot of t-shirts. I represent the e-commerce team, so we're the folks who work on the customer-facing parts of the site, all the tools that our customers use. And so that team's actually a lot smaller. Out of that 1,000 people, it's about 50 people. And so, it's a fairly close-knit group, and you see a lot of different functions, product management, design, software engineering, various other things. We are hiring, obligatory plug, if you're interested, check out our website. But we really try to work in small entrepreneurial teams. And so, we think that really small teams, really focused, really do the best work and really let people be empowered with the work. Sometimes literally that is entrepreneurial in the sense that we launch new businesses, new products. So, folks are familiar maybe with CustomInk, but not as many folks may be familiar with a new site that we launched this year, over the past year. We worked on something called booster.com, which is a website where you can raise money and awareness for a cause that's important to you by selling t-shirts online. So you can sell t-shirts, you can also collect donations. So we actually had a product team that really launched this new product out of our existing business. So we really try to have that entrepreneurial focus because we think it really engages our teams, and those are the kinds of folks that we want to be part of our team. So that's CustomInk in a nutshell. So we're talking about brands on the move tonight, and CustomInk t-shirts, when I think about t-shirts on the move, the example that always comes to mind for me is, does anybody know what this is?
Lobster truck.
Lobster truck, yes. This is the Red Hook Lobster Pound truck, one of DC's exciting food trucks. This actually used to visit close to our old office. We had less exciting dining options in the walkable vicinity. And so this truck, some inkers and I were getting lunch one day, and we're walking up by the truck, and we get to the front of the line, and we see this display case up in the front. I'm sorry for the glare here, but they actually had their Red Hook Lobster Pound t-shirts, hats, and a knit cap here. Like they were planning for every season, I guess. If you're a lobsterman, you get a knit cap. And we spotted the CustomInk hang tag here. We see the, it's like, oh, you printed your shirts at CustomInk. Well, that's pretty cool. So we introduced ourselves to the woman who was running the truck. And she said, oh, well, that's great. When I'm between, we love your site, and when I'm between sites where they stop and run the truck for a couple hours at a time, I like to sit with my phone in the front seat of the truck and work on my t-shirt designs. This is a couple years ago. And I went, oh. Okay, well that's important. It's important to understand, where and how folks are doing this kind of work. And so we think, designing, you want a big screen and you want, this kind of ideal setup. And she's sitting in her mobile restaurant that is moving around, and then she's got her mobile phone, and then putting it all together. So it's literally everything was on the move in her situation. But it really struck home for me, how important to, thinking about the context and the different use cases that people are dealing with is. So in terms of the history of mobile here at CustomInk, we'll talk a little bit about the general patterns that we see. I would say that mobile has kind of traffic has grown more slowly for us than it has maybe for traditional retailers. That we didn't see quite the surge at the same time as other people did. There's a lot of theories we have for why that is. The custom design process, it is a little bit different than just buying a product off the shelf, right? So it's there's customization involved, there's a lot of choice, a lot of browsing, a lot of complexity sometimes. If we do it right, hopefully it doesn't feel like that, but a lot of choice. It's something that typically happens over multiple visits. So, you're a lot of, put a design together, think about it for a day, maybe consult with the rest of your group. So really thinking about, is this the right design? Do we want the blue ones or the green ones? Do other people in my group like this? I'm not a designer. Did we make a good design? Is everybody going to be happy with this? It's my name that, people go, you ordered the shirt. It's like, that's an awesome shirt, or that's a terrible shirt. I'll never wear that again. So, we think there are a lot of things that are different about our process. But that's really started to change over the last couple of years, as it has for a lot of businesses. And part of what's driving that, of course, macroscopic trends. There are obviously, just continued shift to people using mobile devices for everything under the sun. So that's a big part of it. For us specifically, television has actually been a very big part of the story. So we started running television ads about 1.5 years ago at scale. And one thing that we've noticed is this, kind of second screen phenomenon of people see our television ad and they say, oh, well, that looks like an interesting company. I want to check that out. And so we actually see a huge portion of mobile traffic, both phones and tablets. When we run our TV ads, that really is just a very different mix than we kind of see at other times with other marketing channels that we run. So that's been a real shift for us because it's a big driver of customers, and the pattern is really very different. So that's something we've had to be responsive to. I mean that in one sense of responsive. Email is another place where obviously people are checking their email on phones. Any of our email marketing, people sharing with other members of their group via email. So that's obviously a huge driver where people see the email and then immediately want to take action. As well as Facebook. Certainly for Booster, Facebook's been a huge part of the story where people are promoting their booster campaigns through Facebook. It's a huge driver of success for a lot of our most successful boosters. And so a lot of people using Facebook through the mobile apps, and then immediately going out and kind of buying a t-shirt or doing other things there. So that's kind of where we've really seen the pattern start to evolve. I mean, there are others, but those are probably the biggest ones. We've done some work to sort of ask the question, well, what is it that our mobile users want to do? Is it like what we do on the desktop? And the answer is yes, they want to do all those things they want to do on the desktop. And I don't know if that corresponds to your personal usage, where any need that I have, I want to immediately exercise that with whatever device is close at hand. And so when we talk to customers and do interviews and surveys and things, we hear a lot of the same things. Designing your shirt, getting product information, getting pricing. These are all really important to people. Some things that are a little different. We actually see even a higher propensity to share and collaborate. right? So people are used to actively texting, sharing, moving information around, connecting with other people. We actually see that happen a lot more with heavy phone users. Also, just the expectation that you can move from channel to channel, whether that's mobile to desktop, even to a phone call with one of our sales service reps, featured ambassadors, that you expect a consistent experience and the same information to kind of move around with you, so you don't lose anything. So that's also really important. We also know that people want access to the same high quality support. But even though they're on a phone, they don't always want to call. We've tried a lot of things where we say, okay, click here, call, and certainly, we put our phone number at the top of the site. We want to be very available for customers, but it's an interesting dynamic where, especially one scenario that comes up a lot is somebody's on a CDMA device and they say, well, I'd like to call and get some information, and they go, well, I want to look at my design, and I want to, you're trying to do it all at once, and you lose your internet connection. And so some interesting use cases that we've had to start really considering, well, how are we going to deal with those? So where I would say we are today in terms of mobile is, we started with some baby steps, and we've got, as you'll see, a lot of work to do. But where we began is really thinking about some of the basic kind of starting points for folks. So launching a mobile-specific homepage. Most of where this still goes today, in fact, is a lot of desktop-oriented experiences. But even just orienting people at the beginning, reduced our bounce rate, increased conversions. So a lot of just very basic things here that have really helped us. The heart of our experience really is this design lab and being able to put together a custom design. And obviously, this is something that was designed for the desktop. It's actually been a big part of our business for a number of years now. And so we started by doing some things that really focusing on compatibility and just basic functionality. Even though it's a desktop experience, really making sure that we were functionally no bugs and reasonable experience for someone who's willing to kind of pinch and zoom and move through it. On both iOS and Android. And you actually see this was one of our key conversion rates in the lab, and we started, kind of this sad little level bit on here, and we've doubled, we've tripled that in some cases. So, small amount of work, but big benefit. I mean, that's kind of in the early days what we started to go for. Now, as time's progressed, I mentioned, for the course of last year, we did a lot more work on booster.com, bringing that to life. And certainly that was sort of birthed in a more mobile-centric era for CustomInk. We definitely have seen patterns where the participants, in a booster, the people who are getting recruited to the site and buying a t-shirt to support the cause, as I mentioned, a lot of Facebook traffic, a lot of mobile usage. And so, the participant-oriented parts of that experience are really, for the most part, mobile-first responsive designs, including things like the dashboard that a group organizer uses to check on the status of their campaign. We did some interesting focus group work and saw it was a parent, I believe, a high school parent, and she said, "Oh, well, of course I'd be standing in the grocery line and I check and see how my fundraising campaign is doing for the band." And I said, "Okay, that's this is something that people are expecting, people are envisioning." So as I said, we've got a lot of work to do. As we go forward, there's a lot of exciting stuff on our team's roadmap. Definitely the continued evolution and optimization of our existing site. For us, because we have a lot of existing business kind of flowing through a site that some parts have been around for quite a while, it's kind of, I would call it, a pragmatic mix of choices where with each project we have to consider, is this mobile only? Are we doing a mobile first responsive design? Kind of what's the right approach for this part of the site? So that's kind of always something on our team's minds these days. But also, what's the right investment for kind of the time period that this part of the site will live? We're also embarking on a bigger project, really looking at a more mobile native kind of experience, a mobile web experience. Native isn't designed for the phone, but a mobile web experience really that brings people through the design process. And there's a lot of interesting options our team started to explore about, well, how much is that like the experience you see on the desktop today? Are there other ways to approach that kind of are even more appropriate to the form? So that's a really interesting question for our team. And then also, opportunities are unique to mobile. I mentioned that we deal with groups and occasions. And so, when you think about a group of people all interacting, we're all at the event together, what are those things that we want to do with our phones in terms of, maybe we all need to be at soccer practice and paying for our shirts individually, right? The mobile payment aspect. Maybe there's, we have a contest where we have our groups take a photo of their group in their shirts and they win a discount on their next order. And it's just fun to see all the different groups and all the excitement. And so is there a way to kind of bring that process in through the phone. And so I think there are a lot of great opportunities. Again, I feel like we're only scratching the surface with a lot of these, but it's definitely an important part of our agenda as we move forward. So that's a quick overview of what we're up to at CustomInk. Any questions?
Anyone?
With regards to your commercials, do you also track with, say, a call tracking number, or is it just basically looking at trends in terms of who's on the web?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've done a lot of different things, and I'd say none of them is perfect. So we actually started with phone numbers on our ads, but the way that created spikes for us was very difficult to manage. And so we found that those customers were not terribly qualified. So they'd call in and have a long discussion with the sales. And generally, we want to be very available to customers, but we felt that seeing some information on the site was actually more helpful to a customer because then they're sort of oriented in a more complete way. So they see the product selection, all that. And so, we'd get calls that said, well, you guys make t-shirts, right? Yeah, we make t-shirts. What's your event and what's your, there's just a lot more work to kind of draw it out. And so being able to, kind of get people to the website was a really important thing. So we've actually been using a vanity URL for a while on the website. So we've had commercials with Try CustomInk and GoCustomInk.com. We don't love that from a branding perspective, but it has given us a little bit of an ability to kind of see where those spikes happen. And obviously a minority of people use that URL versus searching for us on Google or typing in CustomInk.com by itself. But it has let us kind of see what the patterns are, and then over time our plan is to kind of wean that off and really just be working with that URL. But tracing the timing patterns with as much traffic as we have has been, some businesses, they drive all their traffic from something like TV, and so it's easier to isolate. But for us, we have a lot of repeat business and stuff that it's been harder to suss out. So if any of our analytics folks are kicking around here, we have a long discussion with them. Good question. Other questions?
Hi, Darren. Do you do all of your business through the CustomInk branded site, or do you have affiliates that drive business in using their own private label?
Yeah, we're basically all the businesses through the CustomInk site. We've had small affiliate programs from time to time, but it's pretty much just driving everybody to the site. No white label kind of stuff. Other questions?
Thank you, Darren.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, next up, let's do the switcheroo here. All right.
So I'm happy to also welcome to our event here, Alison Heittman. She gets set up with her slides. So Alison has a background in information architecture. She also has over 15 years of experience in software design, development, and consulting. I learned tonight that she's a corgi owner.
Yes.
So any corgi owned dogs that, we've got a couple here. I have a corgi, so that was resonant with me. But, it's a small club apparently. And so, most recently in her role as CEO of Solertium Corporation, she and her team had the opportunity to create, to really bring the FiveGuys brand into the mobile app space, and really, wrestle with the question of how do you render a brand experience faithfully, moving from, stepping on the peanut shells in the FiveGuys store to a mobile app. So, please give a warm welcome to Alison.
I'm not used to microphones. I'll try not to break out into song or anything. Thanks, Darren, and thanks, CustomInk, and thanks, Pete. Hey, I'm Alison. I used to be a research librarian. I ran an information resource center in Tyson's, just over there near your old office. And then I was lured over to the dark side of software development by a startup in Alexandria back in '99 to begin their information architecture group. And so in the last 15 years, I've worn quite a few hats. That's kind of what happens when you're a CEO at a startup. So I've been, information architect, UX, graphic designer, project manager, contracts, HR, and in the last few years, my team converted me into being a software developer, and that's been a huge passion for me. Last year, I'm claiming the title to most commits in the company. Some disputing, but Planning is fine. And now I like to say that I save the world with software. We do a lot of work for nonprofits, but also in our for-profit work, we kind of like to have that focus. So I'm sure you're saying to yourself, really, Alison, you're saving this world with software for FiveGuys, but everyone has to eat. And I know that all of you want to skip the lines because they can get really, really long. And in fact, skipping the lines is kind of where my roots are with the FiveGuys mobile app. Back in '99, there's a small location in Old Town that was right around the corner from our office. I don't know if anybody's been there or if it's even still there because I really dated myself. But it was small and the lines were always out the door. And being that it was '99, we all had the Nextel BB phones, if anybody else had those. So we would do two things with our phones when we got to the store. We would immediately beat back to the office and let them know how long the line was. And then you're probably standing outside, your phone number is right on the door. So we would call and place our orders, we'd get on the line, and by the time we got to the front, our food was made, we paid, and we were all happy. So we were kind of using our dumb phones in a really smart way. And that's kind of my origins as an app developer for FiveGuys. So I guess a good question is, has anybody not been to FiveGuys? Everybody's been. Okay, so I don't work for them, so I can't claim to be 100% expert on their brand, but I've been working with them for quite a few years, and I've been a customer, obviously, for a while. And so I feel pretty comfortable making some observations about the brand in general. It's all about the burger. The other things that they make, they have to be as good as the burger, but it's about the burger and getting you a really, really good burger. And everything else supports that. Visually, it's a really simple experience. You've got red and white, you've got some Helvetica, little handwriting fonts, no food photography. Good luck with that when you're building a mobile app for people who've never been in the store. And that's kind of it. And it's just really, really simple, but it's deceptive. So when you think of FiveGuys, you totally think of technology, right? It's where your mind immediately goes. But why build an app? We started working with them back in 2010. In fact, the first app was built for this phone. If anybody ever had one, it was I think this was the HTC Hero. I got it at Google I/O. It's a developer phone. Anybody? So this is what we launched on, and that was a challenge. But they were really forward thinking, and they wanted to give a gift to the FiveGuys fans. It's kind of like their love song. It's like, here, this is our gift, we give it to you. The executive team, they had Androids, and they were excited to kind of build something to go there. There wasn't really anything happening in the restaurant space at the time, so it's not like they were like, oh, we're going to do what Burger King did. Pretty much, I think the only restaurant app out there that had any traction was Starbucks. I mean, of course, they still do, but I think at the time, pretty much you could just look up stores, and you might have been able to make a payment with a gift card, but that was about all that it did, but it still had huge traction. So there was hunger for restaurant apps, but not much had been done, and this was something that they kind of wanted to give back. People love FiveGuys, FiveGuys loves their customers. So we started there, and we had two simple goals with the apps. So the first one was super fast experience for the super fans. It was geared for people who were comfortable with the brand and knew exactly what they were ordering and what they wanted, and get it to them quickly. The way that it was described to us was, you're not driving in your car. That would be illegal. You're getting off of work and you're going to your car and you're hungry and you're going home or you're going to a friend's house, so you want to find the closest FiveGuys. You want to be able to order it with a couple of clicks and pay and be done, and then walk in, have a good experience picking up your food, and leave. So that was kind of goal number one. That's really simple to do, right? And then goal number two was to create both iOS and Android apps that have the same feel as being in FiveGuys. So basically, we want to put this in your pocket, and it's got to look like this, and it's got to reinforce this, and it's going to be something you carry around in your pocket. So this was my challenge. Okay, this is our branding. We've got the FiveGuys logo, Coca-Cola, I got to put that in there. And then we have this board. Everybody's pretty familiar with the board. It looks the same pretty much across all of the stores. This one might be a little bit dated. And I think there might be one that's painted, if it still is, down in the Georgetown store. My girlfriend painted that. But otherwise, it looks the same. You're in the store. This is all you've got to work with. So make me an app that looks like FiveGuys. So I've got this, but then there's this. Like from a brand perspective, when you're starting with this for iOS, and then thank you for that last fall. Isn't that awesome? And then you've got your Android guidelines. So and these don't look alike. So none of these three really look alike. But I have to build an app that can work on this, but looks like this. This really looks like iOS 7. So, the lesson I learned is that you kind of have to find your balance between what your brand is and what the current trends are, because the trends change, but your brand may change too. So you've got to kind of find a way to not anger people because it doesn't look like a native iOS app or a native Android app, but that you're still staying true to your brand, so you're not making too many compromises. And that's something that we've really revisited over the years, especially last fall. So we made some pretty simple choices outside of colors and everything else, but sticking with fonts like Helvetica Black, we haven't switched over to the thin one for iOS 7. There's a handwriting font in there that kind of evokes the FiveGuys, brand subtly. And then the other thing we did was specifically with the buttons, we all skeuomorphism, pressy buttons. Instead, ours are flat, they're very square, they've got a little bit of a drop shadow, so it kind of looks like one of their store panels that's hanging in the window. And so we kind of found that with look and feel. And then the other thing that you have to balance is you want to be able to reinforce your brand via the interaction. I want to have the same feeling when I'm ordering the app as I have in the store. Like I want that to not be a subtly, there should be the same experience, not a really different one. So this, by the way, is what we came up with after everybody got locked in a room to figure out how the app was going to work. But so this was really the interaction path that we figured out. And one of the favorite features that we keep hearing back from is there's a "you want fries with that" button. Okay, so we all kind of hate that, but you kind of have to put it in because they sell burgers and fries. But the best thing we did is there's a "never show me this again" feature on that, and there's a feedback between, yeah, we totally get people who rate it. It's like, it's the best thing. But that kind of reinforces FiveGuys. They're pretty laid back. You have a good experience. They're going to ask you if you want fries. But if you never want them to ask you again, they're nice. They won't. So you kind of think about ways of, in addition to look and feel, how else can you kind of bring the brand in via how you're interacting. So,
put it in Spanish.
What's that?
You put it in Spanish to get the real FiveGuys experience.
You know what? No one's asked for that. But it's strange, and I could do that. Thank you. So these are our results by the numbers. So we've had more than 1 million downloads. We released the app in 2011, so that's 3 years, which is like 20 in internet time. FiveGuys has now more than 1,000 stores in the US, so that may not sound like a lot, but they don't advertise. They don't advertise themselves, and they don't advertise the fact that they have a mobile app. So all of that traction is pretty much from word of mouth and people writing about us. And then the favorite statistic is we have more than 200,000 users every month using the app, and repeatedly using it. And sometimes that's like their main interaction with the brand. And so we do our darndest to keep them happy and coming back, and it seems to be working because that number keeps going up. So it's been good for them. So what I've learned as a software developer is there are benefits to being a first mover. I mentioned that we released on Android first. One of the reasons for that was, well, there's kind of 3 reasons. The executive team all had Androids, so they were really excited to be testing and doing things first. The other reason was we wanted to be able to be responsive when people had suggestions or if something went wrong, and we knew we didn't want to have to go through the wait a week for Apple review. So we wanted to be able to do that. And the other big, huge reason was no one was really in this space, and no one was definitely doing it on Android first. So guess who got featured in the Android marketplace? So for a company that wasn't going to be advertising their app, that rocked. And in addition to Google doing it, like everybody else who had their own little marketplaces were doing it too. So who goes to Best Buy to test their stuff? Anybody? Seriously, if you're on lab, you go to Best Buy or the AT&T store. So we would go into Best Buy and test it on the tablets and the phones, and the app would be featured in everybody's store. So, first mover. So a big lesson I learned from that is, even if I can't build the first restaurant app, I am building a self-service iPad ordering kiosk. If anybody wants one of those, it's kind of new. But figure out a way that your project can have first mover status in something. Can you do something unique that creates a cool technology story that people are going to write about, or that might cause Google, if you have friends over there, or know somebody, or you're just doing something cool that they'll hear about, and they'll make you a featured app. That's pretty rocking. So if you can figure out something to do interesting on a technology front in your app, find a way to do it. The next thing I learned, balance your brand with interface trends. Like I said earlier, we've seen it go both ways. You get an app and it looks nothing like you because it reeks of iOS or Android, or you have an app that is so heavy about your brand and it's like, I just downloaded 20 megs of yay brand identity, but the app doesn't actually do anything. So you kind of want to strike a good balance of having it be looking like you, but functioning the way that you would expect an app to do, and having good functionality. On that note, a huge lesson I learned moving from web development into mobile development is you want to get it right or you're dead to people. And this is kind of surprised some of my friends, but the thing about a phone is it's got that button that's real estate on your phone. Like, that's valuable, that's ad space. But it's something that people look at and they have to be happy to see it there. It's not like a website that you can go visit, and if you can't find the information you want, or something goes wrong, you'll still go back in a day or a week or a month. You didn't really get burned. It didn't really cost you anything. But with an app, I brought you into my home, into my pocket, and you betrayed me. So the app's been out for a few years. Most of our friends know we developed it, and I will literally be at parties, and somebody will be like, oh yeah, I found the FiveGuys app, and I'll have a friend glance at me and they'll be like, I tried it once. And usually it's something I have no control over. I tried to place an order and I didn't have any internet access and it didn't work, so I'm okay with that. But sometimes it's you can't guarantee a good experience for everyone, but I tried it once, and I'll be like, dude, you're my friend. It took 3 years, I put that feature in. But sometimes you're only comatose, or you can come back as a zombie, but quite often, you sometimes only get one shot. So you really want to do whatever you're doing, even if it's something minimal, do it right. And then with this app specifically, it takes more than technology. Placing the app is really just the start of somebody's experience with FiveGuys. They've got to drive there. Those directions better be right if somebody needs them. And then when they get to the store, they have to understand, what kind of experience they're going to have there. One of the things that we've really been fine-tuning in the app is the fact that if you've ordered with the app and you get fries, they're not ready when you get there because they want you to have the freshest fries possible. So they get dropped when you say, "Hey, I'm Alison. I'm here for my food," and you're supposed to get the next order. But if you don't know that, then you're going to get angry with the person behind the counter, and then you're going to delete the app, or you're going to write to me and yell at me, and because I get feedback messages. So I have to find a way to integrate my technology in with the process of what happens, physically for people, and pay attention to that and be continually responsive. Another anecdote is I said FiveGuys likes to do, one thing, burgers, and do it well, kind of like CustomInk with your t-shirts. They changed their menu. Did anybody know that? They added milkshakes last week. And it's pretty huge. It's rolling out, it's slowly rolling out nationwide, and I think the closest store right now is, I think it's Times Square. But if you walk into the Times Square store, shakes are on the menu. So if you open up the app and search for the Times Square store, shakes are on the menu. So you don't arrive and be like, oh crap, you have shakes. Oh, we've gotten one. So I have to really know what's going on the ground and make sure it's reflected in the brand that they're interacting with in the app. You got to learn that you can't please everyone. It's really important to have a user feedback function in your mobile apps. We've built a developer tool to power it. It's in addition to getting the feedback, it's important to make sure that it goes to the right person, because I'm sure we've all gotten an email and you have to forward it to someone, and then that's the wrong person, and it goes to somebody else and somebody else. You want to get it to somebody as fast as possible if they can have a good interaction with the person, because even a complaint is an opportunity to turn somebody into a FiveGuys fanatic. And so you want to learn from them. They're going to tell you what you're doing well. I'm so thankful that pretty much for every you suck, I get a you're an awesome. So, you know, you want feedback. It validates your roadmap. It tells you what you should be focusing on next and maybe what you should not focus on because nobody cares. But it's just really important to accept that you're not going to please everyone and understand that, you know, when you say no, make sure you have a good reason. And then finally, keep innovating. People are telling you what they want. I have 200,000 users every month, and that's kind of a lot because they're all spending money with me. So they want to see new things. They want to keep being rewarded for going back into the app. So you don't start with an app that's completely done. You start with an app that's a start, and then you listen, and you keep building, and you keep working. And you know, even after 3 years, you would think we were done, but we're still refining favorites right now based on user feedback. We have some other like exciting things I can't talk about coming up in like Q3 that I'm working on right now, and it's just, you just want to keep delivering and keep innovating. And that's what I have learned. Anybody have any questions?
Are you going to use GPS to track when people are close to the restaurant to start the fries?
So you've been to FiveGuys, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to explain how things work on the line. You go to the cash register or to the app. You pay, and the ticket spits up out on the line, and that is the last interaction that they have with technology. So we've been getting like requests for like bump bar stuff, like, hey, give me a text and let me know when my stuff is done. I haven't gotten I think maybe 1 or 2 people have said, you know, I want to tell you when like that would be awesome, but they have over 1,000 stores, so we would have to figure out how to, you know, again, integrating the technology into the store. But the more people who write in and tell us things about, like, they start thinking about it and figuring out if there's a way that they can do it. But yeah, that would be awesome. I have another client who's like, they're a burrito chain, Beloco out of Boston. They've actually, there's one in downtown DC and one out in Bethesda. Really good burritos. Really, it's awesome Nutella milkshake. But they're really technology forward, and they were trying to figure out ways, you know, different things you can do with geofencing and apps, and maybe not like your stuff is ready, but like I see you're nearby, I see you're at another burrito store, and hey, I have a special if you get here in 5 minutes. Like, so kind of like thinking about things like that. But yeah, it is going that direction.
Hi, I haven't seen that application of yours, but I guess it's crazy because it has almost $1 million downloads. Oh, okay. So the question is, do you use just Google Wallet for a payment solution, or can customer save their paper or like credit card information to process payment by one click?
So good question. Do we use a wallet, or how do people pay? The app does not currently have wallet functionality. One nice thing about wallet functionality, if you're building for a restaurant app, is that also typically gives you access to gift cards in stores. And if you own a business and you do gift cards, you are aware that they have a much lower exchange rate than credit cards. So you really want people paying that way. But currently, the app is 100% integrated with their online ordering website, and people have accounts through that, and they can keep credit cards on file. You can't do cash payment with the app because there's no cash register at the area where you pick up your food. So you go straight to the pickup area, you skip the cash register, and so you use your card. You can either keep it on file or just do a one-time transaction.
So, so the reason why you didn't integrate the payment solution with it is because if you require if you ask customer to save their credit card information, then the bounce rate will be going skyrocketing. And the second thing is, I think, do you think is it still early to? I mean, do you think Google Wallet is popular enough to use to
To integrate with?
Yeah.
Yeah, so people do keep credit cards on file with the app. I don't think that necessarily keeps payments skyrocketing. If you use something like Braintree, I think they charge you a one-time fee to keep a credit card on file. So the thing to think about when you have 1,000 stores, and some of them are corporate, but a lot of them are franchise stores, is how do you manage the money? So usually at an individual store, like that franchisee has a relationship with the credit card company. So when you're doing stuff with payments, unless you're going to have everything get paid into headquarters and then headquarters starts dispersing funds, it's really a lot logistically to think about. I do think that wallet technologies are where it's going. Yes, if you're starting now, I would start with a wallet. But they didn't have those in 2010 when I started.
So I thought it's the strongest point. I thought you already have installed integrated the payment solution like
Yes.
Google Wallet, but
Yeah, not Google
but you
Wallet,
did.
but yeah.
So the strongest point of popular is coming from the skipping the lines. Just pre-order it, so I don't have to wait in the line.
Yes, that's one of the huge things.
So
It's
that
all about
makes
skipping the line.
million downloads, almost million. like
Yeah,
I said.
we've had more than 1 million downloads at this point. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So,
This is incredible.
yeah, thanks.
Wow.
It's not doing bad.
Can you talk about loyalty and also if you've been able to increase the user coming in the store maybe a half or one more times a week with this app?
I know I do.
You've been able to
Test
improve
it all
that?
the time. Yeah, I think that
Were there loyalty points? Or-
so FiveGuys doesn't do a loyalty program
They don't.
because hey, advertising. They don't currently do anything like that. Everything is very simple in the store. If you're a long timer like me, you remember when they had the pads that they would take the orders on before they got point of sales, and it hasn't been about that. They don't discount. I can't swear that they never will, but loyalty programs, you tend to get discounts and rewards and things like that, and you never see coupons. Like you don't see anything like that from FiveGuys. It's really they've got a burger, they put a good price on it, and they're done. Yeah.
So basically,
Oh, sorry.
Hi. From the things that you said in your presentation, it sounds like FiveGuys is really engaged and they're really working to keep their app current. Can you talk about maybe some of your other clients or what you do with people who have the mentality of they put out a branded app and it's just out and done and they're not trying to refresh it?
Yeah, I try not to work with those people.
I wish I could do that too.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I find, as a software consultancy, I find that in general across web and mobile, our most successful projects are one where people understand that the initial investment is just the initial investment. When I'm signing people on, I say, you have to reserve budget for more development after this and more development support after this. We do have some apps that we wrote code for out in the field that haven't really been updated, and I'm sad about them. But I don't have any control over making them better. I've seen their counterparts getting refreshed in the last 2 months, so I have high hopes that the team that currently has control over them, that we built the code base for, is kind of making a pass for everybody. That's my fondest hope and wish. I can.
I have two questions. First one, how did FiveGuys find you to do the app?
We have friends in common, and prior to the app, we had done some other projects with them. We built them a pilot program for online ordering. Was the biggest thing we did before the app, and helped them figure out what they wanted out of their online ordering vendor. And happily enough, the biggest thing they made their vendor sign on for, it's this company Olo out of New York, online ordering, who do a great job, is they had to swear to build out an API so that they could then work with us to build a custom app. So we have friends in common.
The second question is, how much of the decision you can make? What kind of decision you can make, and what kind of decision they have to make?
So we have the giant product roadmap in a Google Doc, and it's shared with us, the training team, people on marketing, and the team at FiveGuys that runs the app, and we try to meet with them periodically throughout the year as an entire group and kind of review the roadmap, review the feedback that we've been getting, and see what we're able to do against the API that Olo's pushing out, because they're constantly pushing out updates. And yeah, that's kind of how it works. Just keep plugging along and listening and keep working at it. But we have a bit. My team tends to pay attention to data, So if they haven't had the time to really compile the data on who's asking for what, or general industry trends, then we will kind of bring that to their attention. But if they don't want us to work on something, we don't.
So does FiveGuys have a social marketing program, especially one that relates to maybe driving traffic to the mobile?
They have in the last year or two. They brought this great guy, Kenneth, on, who's, I think he might have started as an intern, but now he's got his own little social fiefdom over at FiveGuys. And they've got a pretty active Facebook and Twitter activity. Right now they have March Madness going on. I'm Team Pickles. Let's see, I'm hoping takes it. But they don't, and they interact with people who talk about the app, because I've followed out on the Twitters to see what they're saying. But they're not actively saying, go here and download. It's more like a voice about FiveGuys versus marketing, if that makes sense.
No way back and forth with Taco Bell or anything like that?
Not that I have spotted. I do have other jobs, so it's possible it's happened. But no, I don't think they go Taco Bell. I would bet they would go In-N-Out. But yeah.
How much user research and user testing was involved when you were coming up with the app? And if there was a lot involved, was it more focused on the fanatics, like the FiveGuys fanatics, or did you focus more on like really just the general sort of consumer?
Yeah, so it's the love song to the fanatics originally. And some technology decisions were made on that. The biggest one is when you launch the app, it immediately hits your geo services to locate the nearest stores. It doesn't cache anything like that, like it hits it fresh. Actually, I think it might cache after the first time, right? But the first time it'll hit your geo services, and that has ticked some people off. But we're sticking with it apparently for now. Also, one thing you may not have noticed about the FiveGuys menu is, in addition to not having any food photography, they don't explain their sandwiches at all. And everybody here know the difference between a little cheeseburger and a cheeseburger?
Yeah, one patty, two patties.
Exactly. If you've never been in a FiveGuys and you're placing your order, my sister did this when I brought her one time. You don't know that you're getting a double hamburger when you order a hamburger. But it's for the fanatics, and they already know what that is, so there is no explanatory text about that in there. So yeah, I would say it was definitely built for the fanatics. They kind of got a little bit of a shock as non-fanatics started downloading it. As the app's been rolling out over the last 3 years, they've been expanding across the country, and they are getting a lot of users now who aren't necessarily familiar with the brand, who are thinking about going in. One nice thing is they tend to use the feedback button pretty liberally to ask us questions about things. All the app feedback goes to me and my team. So if you pick that button, please don't flood me tonight. But we get those questions, and you can kind of respond to people and explain things. But yeah, it's been a fun transition.
Yeah, one right here.
Yeah, you mentioned text messaging earlier. Do you have any components of text messaging in the application for FiveGuys, or what have you heard about that? What are the plans?
We don't currently, and in fact, but Olo did, and I don't think they do, because I think I just broke mine trying to do tech support for somebody who was asking me how to update their phone number so they could get text messages. Olo manages all of the actual ordering. We just push the order in and then get the confirmation from them that it's in. So they send out email notifications with a receipt, and then they would also send out like a 3-line, well, I don't know how many lines it is on your screen, but text saying your food will be ready at 12:42, and blah blah. And that was about it. But I think Olo might have dropped that feature at this point. We don't currently have any plans to integrate that, mostly because they control it. So if it happens, it would happen on their end.
You said you started with Android. Can you explain how you evolved beyond Android on the smartphone, i.e. to iOS and to the tablets as well?
Yeah. We haven't done much innovation in the way of tablets. I mean, it's optimized. The basic design is optimized for a tablet, but there's no gone overboard. That's kind of on my list for this year is to improve that user experience. Basically, we spent the first 3 months getting it right on Android, and then the next 3 months building out the iOS app based on that feedback and how people were using the app. And then, so I think we released the Android app in March, and then the iOS app came out in the beginning of September. So we did take our time just to make sure we're getting it right. Since they weren't even marketing it, we didn't have to worry about people clamoring for it, but people were finding out and were asking for it, so that also did validation to definitely release on both platforms. But we do not regret launching on Android first. That was a really good choice for us at the time.
You have time? You have time for one more question?
Front row.
I'll do it.
Hey, Joe. Here.
Easy. Can you talk a little bit about the mobile web versus the apps? So, like, are you involved in that? How much traffic is one versus the other?
Sure. I've done that on other projects, but not for the FiveGuys app. I believe the FiveGuys, they're in the UK. Did you guys know that? They've got a couple of stores going in London. And they have a separate app, and that's mobile web, but I don't have any statistics on it. It looks really nice, though. When you are building mobile payment applications, there are things you can strategically do to leverage the mobile web for PA, DSS, PCI compliance stuff. But this is all, these apps are all, you know, mobile web. Is there any mobile web in the FiveGuys app, Mauro?
Well, no, there's no hybrid content in the app, but there is a mobile web version that all of them provide.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right. And I don't have any statistics on usage of that. I think the bulk of the usage comes through either desktop sites for mobile web and for web and the app. The app, I think, has now surpassed desktop usage, so more people are using that than the website. Did you know about GoFiveGuys.com? Yeah, GoFiveGuys.com is the mobile website.
Let's give it up for Alison.
Hey, thanks.
That was very sweet. Okay, so now we're going to give some stuff away.
I'm going to give this away to you.
Come on up, Christina. Okay, let me see. Let's get one of the passes. I'll take one. All right, $1,200 pass for Modev UX. Who wants it? Who wants it? All right, okay, well, let's see. Let's see. Here, I'll hold it up. Look. Okay, I'll move it down. What do we got?
Anthony Delori.
Anthony Delori, hey! Anthony, you are the big winner tonight, my friend. So you send me an email, and I'll send you the code. Okay? Thank you so much. All right, well, that concludes our program. What we want you guys to do is go back to your networking, hanging out. I guess we have the room for a little bit longer?
Yes.
Right? Okay. And then we're going to conduct a few interviews with some inkers, so don't leave. We're going to do some one-on-one interviews, and there's more drinks back there. So let's have fun. One more round of applause for our speakers. And don't forget your inky t-shirts right up here. Please, take one home. Thanks.